to another episode of Decoded, our show for OutSystems developers featuring OutSystems developers. My name is Eliza, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager for OutSystems in North America. I'm joined, of course, by my colleague and co-host, who I'll let introduce himself. Logan?
Hello, my name is Logan Braid, and I'm a developer advocate here at OutSystems. So I've been watching the one registrations coming in. We're going to have an amazing crowd in Amsterdam this June. Be sure to register ASAP to reserve your spot as well. We recently released a packed agenda, and I'm super excited for the Murder Mystery Challenge.
That's a little scary. Before we get to our guests, I also want to say everyone on this episode somehow is going to be in person in New York City on April 28th for Developer Day. Again, April 28th, New York City Developer Day. At least one of the people in this episode, maybe more than one, I'm not sure yet, will be giving talks. If you want to find out who it is and to register yourself, be sure to check out the New York City Developer Day link, which I'll leave down below.
With that out of the way, we have two amazing guests joining us today. Emily, who's our Director of Product, leading AI development, and João, Chief Architect at Accelerated Focus and OutSystems MVP. João, can you tell us about your role at Accelerated Focus and your history with OutSystems?
Sure. Accelerated Focus is a gold OutSystems partner and one of the most experienced OutSystems practices in North America. I'm the head of low-code development here and work alongside an incredible team to help our clients to tackle complex enterprise-grade challenge with OutSystems. It's very much a team sport. And I've been working, I've been in OutSystems community for quite some time now. Goes back to the time that I started when I moved to the Netherlands, involved in the local user groups. After that, I moved to Portugal and worked for the DACH region, where I ran the user groups, all these user groups, in Germany with Munich, Frankfurt, and Berlin. And after speaking in OutSystems One conference and hosting now the OutSystems user group in New York with Eliza, I try to stay as active as I can be. But it's something that I really love to do.
We love you in New York.
Thank you for having me, guys. I think it's I forgot to mention that. It's really, really important.
No, it's great. We love having you in New York, João. You're such a great user group leader and often user group speaker. So, Emily, though, you're a bit newer to the OutSystems family. Many of us first met you at One Miami in November. Can you tell us about your background and what you do as a director of product at OutSystems?
Yeah. So Miami, I had actually just joined OutSystems. I think I'd been here for about 3 weeks when I showed up. So that was really fun and exciting. I am head of AI developer experience. So I run the product group. So that is AI's improving and infusing the whole way through the product experience for developers. I am new to OutSystems, but I'm not new to no code or low code. I've been in this space for over a decade. So helping customers and users figure out how to go from ideas to applications really quickly. And I really love the art of creating tools for the makers and people who go and build them.
Very cool. So this is your official intro to our incredible OutSystems developer community. But could you talk a little bit about interactions you've had with our developers so far? They love hearing about themselves. So anything you can give us.
I will say Miami had incredible energy. And coming into this role in particular at this point in time, everyone I've been talking to has been bringing a ton of energy to what we do at OutSystems with low code and software development and engineering. It's a really exciting time. So I've been fortunate through the limited availability program for Mentor. When we kicked that off, there was only a handful of customers in it when I started. And when we went GA at the end of March, we had over 100 customers in there. And throughout that journey, we had over 60 customer interviews and discovery sessions. We had tons upon tons of customer input from either emails or the in-product feedback. We look at every single piece of those. And I will say I'm just continually impressed to see what people are building and what they're shipping, how they're using Mentor to go build a top platform. And just, I really like seeing what people build. It's amazing energy.
That's awesome. Well, speaking about our developer community, Emily, most of our developer community will have seen our AI Agentic Systems Engineering announcement a couple of weeks ago, but I would love for you to take a moment to tell us what they might have missed if they didn't tune in.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. First, I'm going to start with Mentor, and I'll talk about the open ecosystem announcement that we have. It's really exciting. So about a year and change ago, we announced Mentor on the web. So it's an app generation experience, and it's been easy to miss this, but we've actually shipped a ton of improvements to that for building your applications. So you can now go in there, you can have a conversation with it, you can really iterate on it and your requirements, and then have it generate the app and then continue iterating on the roles, permissions, and screens in there. It's much more aware of your ecosystem, so it knows about themes, and public elements, and so it can really build a really strong app to get you started. And then we also connected that into Studio. So we brought that Mentor experience from the web into Studio, the IDE where most people spend most of their time building applications out. And that is a full coding assistant. So Mentor and Studio can do all the things you can click and do in OutSystems. It can do, and it's aware of the full application context structure. So those are two really big announcements or features that we shipped. And then the third thing that we announced is that as we were building Mentor, we built a really great platform for agents to interact and build within the OutSystems ecosystem. As we saw this, we said, man, this would be really great with Claude, Cursor, and Codex. And so we announced that we will be bringing that, we call it the Enterprise Context Graph, and the open ecosystem, we're going to make that available to other coding agents. And that is a thing that we're working on and getting ready for.
Yeah, it sounds like that Agentic Systems Engineering is bringing a lot to the community. So I'm wondering if you can tell us, how does Agentic Systems Engineering, or ACE as we like to call it internally, as a whole fit into OutSystems' long-term platform vision for our community?
Yeah. So we all see it, we all feel it. Coding is changing, right? It used to be there's, in no code or low code, point and click, drag and drop, creating some code snippets here and there. But what we're finding is that agents are really good at the build piece, and that as software developers and engineers and architects and business process owners, we're now thinking about the whole bigger picture, and we can hand off some of that to agents. And so the Agentic Systems Engineering announcement was really a recognition that we've shifted. With Mentor and our whole agentic platform, we're shifting to a new world where it's always about people to people, and now it's also shifting agent to agent. And it's our role now to figure out how do we organize and coordinate and orchestrate across all those agents so they can go start doing the engineering work in an agentic manner.
So, João, as an OutSystems MVP, you often get pre-release access to give the product team, including Emily, who was just talking about this, feedback. You didn't get hands-on with everything in the announcement early, but you did get hands-on with a piece of it. Can you talk to us about what that was, and I guess more generally the journey you've seen OutSystems take with AI recently?
Yeah, that's one of the perks and responsibilities of being an MVP, and I really liked it, having access to some of these new features. Not that I feel more important than others to have access to those, but I think it's a great opportunity to play with them at first hand. Of course, it is, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity for me to be able to help shape the direction of the product in some here and there. I'm pretty sure that all the feedback that we give, we would always love to have it there, but we understand that priorities happen, and it needs to happen at one after the other. And and to be honest, this is not just it's not just trying to help, and it's having a full conversation, with the product team, and trying to understand what works, what doesn't work, what things should go in, what should go out, bringing a little bit of that expertise from the field to the product team, and help them value a little bit of what we hear when we are confronted what the things that the platform can do and cannot do. The OutSystems journey with AI, it's been very solid, to my opinion. Maybe a little bit slower that I would have wanted, but that is what it is. To be honest, we always complain, right? We want faster and more features every time. But to be honest, I've been much more engaged with the conversational mode mentor inside the Odyssey Studio. It feels, I think that if you look at the tools like Lovable, Claude Code, Google AI Studio, most recently, they are pushing the boundaries really fast on the visual side, and Mentor will have to catch up on those things, I believe. The conversational modes, it's something that I've been using, and it's really good. I really liked it, not just to build faster, but to understand what the developers built before me. I'm able to if someone it's someone else's module, someone built that part, and we try as much as possible to document everything and have the information available for everyone to access when we come in and try to refactor something, or to change something, or even to add a new functionality. But having the ability to understand up front exactly what is the application about, and especially prompted in a way that you are expecting it to get it, so you can shape your own output format. It's really, really important. And I hope generally that once Aziz opens the door to tools like Claude Code and Cursor, we will be able to automate much more, not generic code reviewing, but testing, deploying, the full cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. So to kind of zoom out and to talk a little bit about the announcement itself, let's kind of go like 1,000-foot view. One of the things that was talked about was dynamic context. And Emily, I'm wondering if you can tell me, what does it mean when OutSystems says dynamic context driven? Like, what exactly is the context?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that context is literally the structure and architecture of your app, but also the wider OutSystems ecosystem. So if you think about it, it is the entities, the actions, the timers, the screens, widgets, all those items of how do they interrelate, how do they depend on each other, what is the metadata for each of those items. And then when you're using agents, right, you can't give it every single file, and you can't give it every single thing your ecosystem. And actually, agents perform really better when you curate the context you provide them, or when they can explore and crawl and explore that context on its own. And so what we've built is within the enterprise context graph is a knowledge layer on top of your applications that Mentor and soon other coding agents will be able to query and analyze and interact with, so they can figure out, hey, if I need to go architect a new feature, I need to go build a new application, or I need to go add an agent to something, they're able to introspect that, they're able to understand it, and then also figure out how to go manipulate that dynamic context on the fly. And so this is really unique to OutSystems, and our architecture that we have within the platform that we've built out over the last 20-something odd years. And as it turns out, as we started looking at as we started building Mentor and looking at what we have, we said, actually, this is really great for agents to be able to go and build within. So that is that dynamic context piece.
Really, really cool. So, João, you've built agents in OutSystems. You've even presented those agents to user groups. What context, what data are you using for those agents?
I've been building two types of agents. I've been playing a little bit outside of the platform and understand how those agents can help me foster the work in a way that I can be faster to produce the applications and the inputs or the outputs that serve as inputs for the application to consume, and then the agents that end up being part of the runtime and the execution of the applications, where the ambition is always to automate, to free the capacity of users to do something else than just those tedious tasks that continue to bore a lot of people. We've been building agents for the last 18 months in the enterprise grade space. And it's really, really interesting to see the adoption that organizations have been having to this. In some situations, we have to have AI somewhere, right, in the organizations, and we need to understand what that means and how that fits into the reality of the organization. And others are so solid and so mature that sometimes we end up even learning a lot from them. So it's really interesting. The dynamic part, I think that's actually the key part, is the dynamic. It's OutSystems. It is quite simple and easy to build applications with OutSystems, right? So which means that the portfolio of applications will continue to grow at the pace that is always crazy compared with other coding tools. And in the end of the day, being capable of hooking to that dynamicy of understanding things that are constantly changing and being up to date, and then eventually piggyback from that understanding and that information and helps to build even applications even faster. I can hardly wait to put my hands on stuff like that and the connection to those coding tools.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, you talk about the demand that AI just appears in software from companies now. I'm actually having a user group next week with a bunch of people who have just gotten approval that they can use AI now. And one of our experts at OutSystems is going to talk to them about what they're using AI for. Never mind putting it into OutSystems, but the people above them use AI, and they're just figuring out how to do it. So yeah, really exciting. So you touched on this a little bit, but what are sort of the risks you're seeing when enterprises rely on these disconnected, architecturally blind tools? And what are you excited to see with the ACE announcement improving in that aspect?
Yeah, this is something that I'm very passionate about and I feel very strongly about because like I said, we've been seeing clients that have to, they don't know what to do with it, and as soon as they start doing and start working with it, it will grow exponentially fast. And we need to make sure that we can control it and we can govern it. AI agent sprawl is a real risk, and governing those agents is becoming absolutely critical. And there is the thing: I don't believe that teams will always use the same AI coding tool or the same model. Every day we've been, blasted with new stuff and new models, new ways of working, and new Git repositories with a lot of information, and it's just not easy to cope with everything. So at the speed of things that are being released right now, I cannot tell you with any confidence whatsoever that the tools that I'm using today are the ones that I still be using in 3 or 6 months. But it's just a reality where we're living in, right? But here's what I do believe stays consistent and constant: the data that grounds those models. That is where continuity lives. Like I mentioned, you will have your own personal intelligence, even that you can keep up to, that you have to keep up to date, and your team will have a shared version of that. The tools will come and go. The models will evolve. But what we ground on the grounding layer, the shared understanding of your systems, your architecture, your business rules, that's yours. And that's what will travel you. And that's exactly what I believe Aziz is and what is coming here to address. by having one shared context layer, one set guardrails, one governance platform that will, that all the tools can plug into. You stop the sprawl before it even starts. And the enterprise context graph means every agent, whether it's Mentor, Claude, Code, or Cursor, is working in the same understanding of your system and the same rules. It's not just a nice to have. I think it's really mandatory for enterprise grade software.
Yeah, that's very true, and like super important for the developer community, like to make sure that their applications are like governed and secured in this new like ACE environment or setup. So you talked a little bit about the like open context graph. So I wanted to actually ask you, I know we've had a ton of discussions, like our team has had a ton of discussions with you. I've had a ton of discussions with you personally about OutSystems and openness. What excites you about this new possibility?
The real excitement here for me is choice. It's real choice. As someone who's constantly experiment with new tools and new models and new ways of building stuff, the idea that I can bring whatever I want into the OutSystems space and without losing any of the governance layer that keeps running underneath is generally exciting. This means I no longer have to make a binary decision whether it's not OutSystems or Cloud Codes or it's not Mentor or Cursor. It can be all of them for what it matters. Working in the same system, running in the same context, following the same rules. The flexibility is something that I honestly have been waiting for. But this is only achievable with truly openness and not just a few APIs available so that we can call it, right? It needs to go deeper than that. The other day I was scrolling through my X page profile and I saw a post from Andrei Karpathy. I think he's was one of the founding members of OpenAI and their directory of AI at Tesla. And he said something that really, it stuck with me. He posted that every business is still so used to giving instructions over legacy interfaces, telling you where to click and what to enter, and that it suddenly feels rude. And I think that the point that he was trying to give is you can think of things that you can give as a copy paste to the agent, and I think that's exactly the right way of doing this, and where the world is moving towards agents that interact with platforms programmatically fully, not humans clicking here and there through screens. If OutSystems really opens up into that direction and not just level APIs, I believe that more customers will come and that reality will set completely. But there's something that that is not being said enough. I believe it's the governance and the cloud management that OutSystems brings to the table, which it's exceptional and to be honest, one of a kind. I don't know if Emily thinks the same way, and what that part of the platform can give and enhance the agents that we're building on top. What do you think?
It's a great question. I think the point about risk is one that always lives in the back of my head, and I've been doing agentic coding and engineering for I think I tried a lot of these early Copilot tools, Replit, and Lovable, and I think one of the things that stood out to me is that you don't have a platform like OutSystems. Agents always have to go figure out everything from scratch. And there's a lot of risk in having an agent just stand up your observability, your governance, and architecture all from scratch. I think with coding agents, we find that they're really good at they'll get it working like point A to point B, but if things go off the rails or you have a bunch of edge cases, they quickly miss things. And this is where you end up with like, oh, it accidentally deleted your database or whatever. And I think this is also where that context graph comes in, is they'll make a happy path in the moment in the thing that they are building. They don't really understand the full architecture or life cycle of that ecosystem. So this is where when we look at OutSystems, I'm actually really excited to be opening up our platform to other coding tools. enterprise context graph. You get to see that map, or agents actually get to see that map of this is connected to, these entities are connected to these screens, and these screens are connected to these actions. But then it also has a lot of really great out of the box, fully or integrated, vertically integrated tooling for doing that deploy pipeline. We also have all of our auditability and governance tools. So those aren't being made up on the fly by an agent. They're already built and they're already going to work and are just going to govern all of these agents. So that is very exciting. And I think you also kind of hit on a little bit on this agent to agent world and moving from just people chatting with agents or people going to a UI and you got to like click and do things. I think we're really going to move to an economy where it's about, yes, I get to coordinate and orchestrate for a system, but actually what I really want to do, I want to coordinate and orchestrate across a lot of different of the products I'm building. So guess what? Even today, I'm looking at the products I use and the tools I use. I'm saying, well, if they don't let my agents orchestrate between each other and collaborate and work together, I don't really want them in my toolbox. I think with OutSystems and the open ecosystem, this is going to be really exciting. Have a world where Claude can come in, it can work with Mentor to go build an application, it can understand the context of what's going on there, it can go run deploys, it can check logs, or crazy other things. You might have OpenClaw running on the side, and it's able to fall into the Mentor ecosystem, the OutSystems ecosystem, and say, hey, I see there's some logs here, and go start pushing changes or fixes on the fly. Because it is a tightly managed ecosystem, but when it's open, there's a lot of creativity that we can bring to that platform, not just for building applications, also for like running and improving and iterating on those applications, in addition with all the other great tools that you might be using like Jira, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Amazing. So
Wild West.
yeah.
Right?
Something new every day.
Yeah.
So in this new era, this agentic era, what does the day-to-day work of an OutSystems developer look like? I'm going to ask this question to you both, but let's start with João.
It will be different a little bit, I would say. But before I answer this, I just wanted to share something that I've been sharing with so many people, is that I honestly feel like a privileged person to be living in this moment. I've been lucky enough to grow alongside so much technology from the early days of, now I have to. That's why I am bald and have gray beard. Is for the days of the starting of the internet, smartphones changing everything. I remember the moment where we did digital transformation, and then the moving to the cloud, and now AI, right? And that's wild. This is just where we are today, and AI is already building AI, even on top of everything else. It's even hard to wrap our head around, and how things move so fast. And then when I think about the day-to-day of an OutSystems developer in this new agentic era, I see it as a fundamentally different kind of work. Not less valuable, just different. You stop spending your energy on the mechanical parts of building the applications, and you start spending it on things that actually require human judgment. What should we build? Why does this matter to the business? How should the systems connect? Is this the right decision? I think things that, mostly due to the fact that we spend so much time still on trying to understand the fundamentals, I believe we will be able to grow a significant layer and be able to think more broadly. And I see AI being the accelerated for that, freeing the capacity to think of those big questions, not taking jobs. I still always believe that new challenges will come to be solved, new things to learn, new problems that nobody has faced before. That has always been true in technology, and I truly believe that it will continue to be in the future. For the OS developers specifically, I think it's a gigantic opportunity. OutSystems, for everything that Emily just mentioned, because OutSystems has always attracted people who care about solving real business fast. And now with all these new capabilities, with an open ecosystem, those developers will become orchestrators of intelligent systems, and that can move even faster. You are still an architect, you are still a decision maker. AI just does a lot more of the building for you. I can genuinely be, happier to be living in this space right now.
And to you, Emily.
As I dodge the sun here coming in. Yeah, I think a lot of what you said resonates with me, João. I think we got to do more of the fun stuff. I think, there's a lot that we can automate. I think because agents can move so fast with the build part, we got to jump into the make part, I guess I would say. I also think it's going to be interesting to see how roles shift from, we had very specific engineer and QA and product, and UX and designer, because you really need to be specialized and because those also took a lot of time. And so you got things wrong as a developer, there was a cost to go make that change. And you spend a month going and making those updates. A lot of our roles are going to change where I think it's much more about judgment, good taste, context, mitigating risk, really, right? So you can trust the system and you can run and operate at scale. But then you got to work together as a team and go make those decisions quickly and then let the agents this. And so then it comes to okay, well, did I build the right thing? And people are gonna be happy with it. I mean, OutSystems is a really great platform to go build a top of with it. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun.
It's so funny that you're so new and you're saying that because we just had an amazing solutions architect retire from OutSystems last month, in fact, Taka, and he, from his first day at OutSystems, was always saying, like you said, get to the fun stuff. The great OutSystems developers are the ones that want to solve problems and focus their time on that rather than the small things like missing semicolons.
Who wants to chase a semicolon?
Yeah. We've all had it where we've chased that lone semicolon for hours. But anyways, Emily, João, thank you both so much for joining us today. It was awesome talking to you guys about Agentic Systems Engineering and the future of it and the excitement that you guys have around it. We both know you're very busy people, so we appreciate you coming on. Our audience really appreciates you guys coming on, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Eliza. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's been great to be here.
To jumpstart your journey with Agentic Systems Engineering, we're offering a limited time Mentor promotion. If you're an ODC customer, you can start using Mentor to take advantage of this offer through the promotional period. If you're an O11 customer, you can request access by clicking on Activate ODC in your customer portal to get your free commercial ODC instance. Check the link in the description to learn more.
Want to learn more and watch a demo before you dive in? Check out the replay of the live event on LinkedIn. We'll link that below as well. Logan also released a super cool video showing off Mentor in ODC Studio. That'll be, you guessed it, linked below. Well, that's it for this episode of Decoded. We will both see you in person at New York Dev Day and One Amsterdam. But as always, if you can't make it to Amsterdam, we'll be broadcasting live from the Expo Hall floor. So we'll see you in June, no matter what. Bye.
Bye.